There we are.
There we are.
Every time it's something. What's going on, everybody?
How you doing?
You gotta love live TV, huh?
You never know what you're going to get.
You never know what you're gonna get. Welcome.
Especially with us.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome, everybody, to Geeking Poetic Podcast channel. I'm one of your hosts, Larry Roberts. This dandy Data over here. Just
all my personalities.
Yeah, you've got all your personalities, her multiple personalities in her head. It's Data and Lore and was it B4?
B4, something like that, yeah.
And the other, all of that.
Lol.
She's back.
I'm back. I'm here. It's good to be back. I'm glad I'm back.
Yeah, who are you?
I am Megan Guess.
I'm not gonna guess. You haven't heard that forever, huh?
I never get that.
Oh, I'm sure you never do. Yeah, we are happy to be back talking about, what are we talking about?
Season 3, Picard, episode 6.
Yep, we're already
The
at episode
Bounty.
6, man. The quicker picker-upper. The Bounty.
It is.
I am full of the dad jokes today, which seems fitting, though, because there's a lot of...
This is true.
There's a lot of dad stuff that goes on in this episode. This was a very dad-centric episode because of, things that happen.
Yeah. This whole season's been about parenting.
Yeah, it has.
But especially this episode.
But this episode in particular, we got it on. I've noticed with the writing of this show so far this season, they've had themes in each episode that they like to tie into all the different stories going on. So in this one, we've got, let's see, 3 different stories that relate to fathers of sorts handing down something. Of course, we've got Picard,
right?
With
Picard
Jack.
And Jack.
We've got the whole LaForge thing.
Yay!
And then we've got the whole other thing, the big reveal 2/3 of the way through this episode with a certain scientist.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was wondering what the third one was. I was like, where is the third one?
Oh, yeah, he considers that his
baby.
child. That's
Yep.
his, and everything. I guess I'm trying to be all like vague about this and everything.
So let's give spoilers now. Spoiler warning. We're talking about everything.
Yes,
everything.
There's gonna be just so many spoilers. So if you are not caught up on the show, make sure that you probably don't watch or listen to this.
Check out now. Come back when you've seen it.
Yeah, we're live streaming, but this will be archived for you to check out later, as always. As always, I'd like to start the episode by just putting the question to you and then to myself. What was your overall impression of The Bounty?
Overall, I enjoyed it.
Okay, you seem a little iffy.
There was one particular character I wasn't exactly thrilled with the direction they took him in.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. I have no idea what that is because we have not had.
So yet again, I just got home. I just watched it. Ran downstairs.
Yeah, that's the way this works when we do this. Episodes premiere where we're at. They don't premiere until 2 a.m. So there's
I gotta work.
Yeah,
there's time for that.
There's no chance we're watching it like when it goes live and everything. So we end up having to watch it later today, and then we hurry up and try to do this and get as many notes and pictures and all that stuff available, and we have it here. So okay, but overall,
what about you?
Me, I gotta say, I absolutely loved this episode.
Yeah, okay.
I think this is my favorite one.
Really?
Of the season so far, and which is amazing because as anybody, if you went back and if you watched or listened to us.
You said that every time.
Yeah, that's probably
building
true.
on top of it.
Yeah. If you listened to me talk about it last week when we talked about episode 5 with Ro Laren in there, I said that was incredible and amazing, and it was, and I wasn't really sure how they were going to be able to at least match that with the following week, because I was like, man, that was so heavy. Next week, like, how are they going to really match up with it? I feel like they totally did. They crammed a lot into this episode.
Yet again, there's a ton to go over.
Yeah.
We're going to be here a while. Take a seat, get comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some popcorn.
Yeah, there's no way. We initially, when we started this, we were like, we're going to keep these to like a half an hour or so. There's no way. There's no way to properly discuss everything There's other channels that do that for you if you want that, and they kind of give you the easily digestible one. This is all about deep diving. And with that, let's
do it. Let's get into it.
Let's deep dive.
We got a lot to cover. So,
oh man, there's so much to cover. So first of all, the episode starts out with Vadic. So she and the other so-called Starfleet ships are trying to find Picard and the Titan. And they cannot find them because they're constantly on the run and leaving...
these beacons or something?
Yeah, they're
Whatever
leaving like beacon things behind, like leaving off a false trail.
She's so frustrated. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That was such a good scene. She's like, oh my God, where are they? How do they keep doing this? And
yeah.
What was it, that scene where the guy was like questioning her? Is like,
and she just turns around and blows him away.
Yeah, which changing was not supposed to do.
Well,
apparently.
Yeah, and that's going to lead. There's more of that happens later in this episode, and that and some other things lead to some interesting questions that we're left with at the end of this episode, about the changelings themselves and about Vadic and about who they really are and what they're really up to, especially since. I'm going to just get ahead of myself just a bit here, but since just before we went live with this, they released they always release the next day, they released the teaser scene for the next episode. Mm-hmm. So I watched the teaser scene for episode 7, and it really is going to bring into question what you just brought up about, changelings doing things that are not
kosher?
Not proper changeling style and everything. There's definitely going to be some questions, but that I don't want to get too far ahead of that.
Let's back it up. We're still in the first scene here.
Yeah, exactly. So they're trying to figure out how the hell they can finally catch up to Picard, and Vadic sends out an order saying, look, the way we're going to do this is
get to Picard. Anybody that knows Picard, has any doings with Picard, anything that we could possibly use, get them.
Yeah, get to the people that he cares about and that he loves and the people he's going to most likely turn to. All right, well, he's already got a pretty huge portion of his core team with him, but there are some stragglers out there, and so right off the bat, it's like, that's...
Not to mention, there's Romulan girlfriends out there somewhere.
That's a good point.
I thought for sure that's where they were going with this.
Oh, wow. Oh, with Maris?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Ooh. He's going to be mad if they mess with that, Yeah, that's a really good point. So that's kind of where they end up leaving that off, is that they're going to go out and try to hit Picard where it hurts the most. Meanwhile, back on the Titan, they're still on the run and everything, and Beverly has run some tests on Jack because now that Jack has revealed to her about his
visions, he's hallucinating things.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. His so-called hallucinations and dreams and stuff like that. That she has run tests on him, and that she has discovered that he has the same syndrome that Picard discovered he had back at the end of season 7 of TNG. In All Good Things, he found he had
Irromatic
syndrome or something like that, which causes these visions and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, just like with Picard, it is a terminal diagnosis there, because
that's no good.
Yeah, and it's impossible for them to know how long it'll take. I mean, by the time Picard found out he had it, he was already in his 50s or early 60s or something like that. He was pretty old. Jack's pretty young, so to find this out is pretty devastating. Of course, this is just adding even more to
like, I hate my father.
Yeah, the tension.
All the things you have to give me. This is it, really?
Yeah, you get things.
Old man.
All these years I haven't had a father, and then I finally, discover you or whatever, and this is what I get. But then, of course, it's weighing very heavily on Picard, who already feels guilty about everything, and now he's like, oh, geez, I just gave this kid a death sentence on top of it. So there's a lot to deal with there. Before we move on with that, though.
Okay.
This is, I'm going to call back. This is probably going to be my biggest ranty kind of thing or whatever about this episode. And it's calling back to, because I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this much because you weren't in the last recap, but I know you listened to it and everything. I have to say, and I'm curious, I'm asking you and I'm asking the viewers and listeners at home, are you buying it?
I don't think a lot of people are buying it.
I'm not buying it.
I think it's a cover.
I think
or at least a part of what's really going on.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't explain the red eyes that he gets.
Nope. It doesn't explain that. It doesn't explain why he gets all sleeper agent. I mean, I'm sorry, but Picard's got the same syndrome, this Irumodic syndrome, and he doesn't all of a sudden like
turn into a ninja.
Turn into like a John Wick ninja. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not buying it. I don't trust the fact. I brought it up for those that didn't hear the last one. If you're hearing me for the first time now, I do not trust Beverly. I do not believe Beverly is Beverly. I think Beverly is a changeling or some kind of changeling. There's some kind of thing going on there. I think between the fact that he's getting these voices in his head saying, find us and all
it's
this.
Always Beverly.
And it's Beverly's voice. That leads me to think the real Beverly is out there somewhere, you know? And this Beverly has either been sent in place of her for some reason, you know, to kind of keep an eye on him, or it's a whole ploy. Because, I mean, again, we know that the changelings want Jack. There's some kind of thing going on with the changelings and Jack. And, again, I can't get ahead of myself too much, but you come to realize when you see the preview scene for episode 7, that it seems to be that there might be more than one species involved in this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's just gonna be, I don't think we're just gonna find out that this is just
changelings.
The changelings, whatever. I think there are multiple species and other factors going on here, which makes it even that much more suspicious. I don't like the fact that Beverly automatically went to this. I don't like the idea that, so you're telling me that you knew all these years that Jack had these visions and all this other kind of weird stuff. You knew that he was Picard's son, and you knew that Picard had Irumodic syndrome long before you ever had Jack. And it wasn't until now that you finally ran some sort of scan on Jack. I mean, this is Beverly we're talking about. You're telling me that it wasn't until now.
Yeah, she even says, she's like, he had these very vivid dreams. They were like reality when he was a little kid.
Right. That he does not remember, by the way. I need to bring up the fact that he's like, I have no memory of this. I have no memory of this. Plus, here's the other thing I'm going to posit. I'm not sure that Jack is... I don't know. I'm not sure that he's just simply Beverly and Picard's son. I'm wondering if there's something else there to him as well. The fact that he's got all this stuff going on, the fact that he's saying, like, I don't remember that. Like, I don't remember that from my childhood. It makes me think about, I go back to Issa Brione's character in the first season, where she had very specific memories of her childhood that were created for her. But then there's other things that she didn't remember, or like things that didn't add up. And it's feeling very similar to that to me.
Oh, you think he might be synthetic, maybe?
I'm wondering if he is some kind of synthetic.
They kept talking about how it's, it's not illegal for synthetics any longer in this episode.
Well, and even if it was illegal back when Jack was made, who knows? I mean, again, there's more going on. And plus, this is also going to tie into another fact that we're going to get into in a little bit when we find out more about Daystrom and what they took from Daystrom and all that stuff. So anyway, yeah, I'm very curious. I would love to know more of everybody at home's thoughts on that, like on my theory about Beverly and stuff, and if anybody has any insights, because I have a feeling this is going to tie into other stuff. Everything that's been going on has been tying into stuff from the past, from DS9, from Next Gen, from Voyager. Everything is tying in some way to the past. So if you have any theories about how you think this might be tying into the past that could explain some of this, please post your comments and stuff.
We want to know.
Yeah, we definitely want to know. So anyway, getting back to the story. So now Picard has to go and talk to Jack, which is awkward. And like we already said, Jack's pounding a few drinks and stuff, trying to drink away his sorrows, saying he's glad he's not crazy. But now he realizes he was handed down a death sentence, and he says some pretty harsh stuff to Picard. Picard feels bad. I think he totally understands, like he's not upset at Jack about it. He understands where Jack's coming from, and he feels guilty himself. He doesn't really get too many words in edgewise on that.
Yeah, that was pretty heartbreaking when Jack was like, how did you survive it? And he's like, I didn't.
Yeah. But the point is he also lived a long time.
But
so,
who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we kind of get left with that there because he storms out. Seven contacts Picard to let him know that they have some visitors that are beaming on board. And I love the fact that we had the old school beaming sound there too.
That was pretty cool.
This episode, let me tell you, oh my gosh, this episode, I'm sure most people that are listening or watching I'm sure have watched the episode. So holy moly, there was so much like throwback. Like every episode has had that to some degree.
This had a lot.
This one had a lot. And I know people go, oh, it's fan service. It's fan service. You know what?
I love it. I loved every second of it.
I loved every bit of it. I literally got excited. Like I was sitting there like Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, sitting there looking at the screen going, oh, hey, look at that. I see that, pointing at the screen. There it is. I was literally sitting there doing that. I was rewinding things so I could read stuff. Oh yeah. So I was getting really excited. But so anyway, the cool thing is that who shows up aboard the Titan finally, yeah, we get to tie together Raffi and Worf with Picard and everybody aboard the Titan. So they come on board, and everybody is only too happy to see Worf again and everything. I got a huge kick here and throughout the rest of the episode where Riker.
I was just going to say Riker like immediately starts ribbing on him.
Yeah, Riker's trying to be like how they were 30 years ago, like he's doing his jokes, and he's expecting Worf to reply in certain ways because Worf is, angry, uptight Worf. And he's got this weird old Zen master Worf now, and Riker's just like,
I don't understand this world anymore.
Right?
Nothing in this world makes sense to me.
Yeah. It was great. Yeah, I was
loving all that.
I was loving that. Another thing, and this might be small. I'm sure this is I'm sure they wanted it to seem throwaway, but in that scene when Worf first beams on and they're all there, and Beverly goes up and hugs Worf, and I think it's Riker that points out is like, oh, he's not much for hugs. And she's like, oh, well, I know that. But it's like, did she know that? So I'm not sure she did know that.
Oh.
You didn't catch that,
I
did you?
didn't catch that.
I caught that. I'm like, mm-hmm. Yeah,
You're suspicious.
Yeah, I think that was a little telltale sign that is not the real Beverly. Anyway, I won't.
It's all adding up.
Yeah,
you might be onto something.
I could be onto something. So then another reunion that was not quite so warm there in that moment was between Raffi and Seven.
Yeah, Raffi was like, "Hey, you." Like,
yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, they're very kind of like, that awkward, like, yeah, we used to date and now we don't.
And now we don't know what to do with it.
We got to be cool with each other, but there's unresolved tension there. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I know that.
Yeah, we felt that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving on from that, though, Worf ends up basically giving them the rundown of, because he dealt with changelings and stuff on
The Dominion
in the
War or
Dominion
something?
War on DS9 and everything. Worf gives them the rundown of all of that and kind of like what they're dealing with, and the understanding that there was dissent there amongst that race of beings and stuff, and why they might be in the situation they're in. And he says that he's after their investigation, he's convinced that the answers they seek are going to be on Daystrom Station.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty shady that Starfleet released a virus on them, basically.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty shady. That's that never works out well. What did you expect to happen? Of course, I don't blame them for being pissed off. I know you gave them a remedy for it, but doesn't mean you. Yeah, I wasn't happy about that.
No, yeah, I agree. That was
shitty.
And that's what I said. I think there's going to be so many levels to what's going on, what's really going on there, why the changelings are involved, why possibly these other beings are involved, and possibly manipulating the changelings and in this and stuff. Because I think that I don't think this is just all about the changelings. I think there's another power at force here who's actually, it's just like how you think like Darth Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin are like the big bad guys, and
But they're not. Yeah.
but then you
They're
come
just
to find out
piece
that
of
there's like the Emperor who's pulling the strings, and so on and so forth. You're like, yeah, I think that there's somebody else in that role here. We have not revealed that yet in this episode, but that's just my hunch based on.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too. That Vadic's not the bad one here. She's just a ploy.
Yeah, well,
of it.
She's bad. I think she's bad.
she is bad, but she's not the big bad.
Not the big baddie.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. So anyway, Worf decides that, look, the way we're going to do this is we have to get into Daystrom Station, and we have to find out. We got this key from this wacky Vulcan bad guy and everything, and we're going to try to get in there and, create some larceny. There's a lot of larceny in this episode in particular.
Freely liberate a few things.
Yeah, they're going exactly. So they make a plan that's what they're going to do. They're going to end up going in there, and another thing I thought was funny at first, that it seemed like it was going to be Raffi and Seven and Worf's whole thing where he's like, oh, it's fine, I've gone into battle with former lovers and this and that, and then Seven's like, I'm not going, and he immediately,
he's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, he's immediately like, oh, thank God this was not going to work out at all. And so Seven says she's not going to go. Instead, Riker is going to go. So it's going to be Riker, Raffi, and Worf, which was awesome. I'm like, oh, that's super
cool. It's a good combo.
It's a good combo, and it proves to be a very good combo because Riker becomes majorly important to this OA mission.
Oh, yeah. Without him. Well, I think it would have been tailored differently.
Right.
I think it was tailored to him because it kept saying processing.
Because of the way the security program was seeing things and stuff. Yeah. So they end up going, this trio ends up going to Daystrom Station. The things go wrong almost immediately. They do manage to get the key in there, and that thankfully seems to fix the problem temporarily. They don't have much time to do what they got to do.
I thought it was funny. The system was like, state your name, please. State your name, please. Give me your freaking name before I kill you. I was like, oh my God. Okay. It cracked me up.
That was pretty funny. I have to admit. Yeah, you're right about that one. So anyway, they end up as they get there and everything, and they're just getting in at the same time, it turns out that the changeling infested Starfleet ships have figured out where they're at, and they're converging now on the Titan, which leaves Picard to be like, oh man, okay, all right, well, we're going to have to leave them there, and we're going to have to come back around for them. And so he hastily kind of lets Riker know, like, sorry, we'll be back. We got to go.
You got to go. You're on your own.
Yeah, and he comes up with another plan of somewhere else that they're going to go, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, we were talking about all the fan service and Easter eggs and things that happen. This is where it gets super Easter eggy, man. So as they're walking through this, what is it, Section 31 or whatever of
something like that
of the Daystrom Institute, it's where they keep
their experimental secrets.
It's a lot of the stuff they've encountered, along the way, and it's going back especially to original Enterprise, Kirk Enterprise stuff and everything. We get to see a very, very angry mutated Tribble.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, that was kind of gross, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah,
you know?
Since it scared Worf, and they give Riker a chance to jab at him.
To rib him about it and everything. I got another one of my pointing at the screen moments because I noticed it immediately was that they passed the Genesis experiment from Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3. I was really excited before I even got to see the little placard thing. As soon as I saw the shape and the color, I was like, "Oh, Genesis! I know what that is." I'm like, "That is super awesome," and that just sort of set it up. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh man, what else are they going to see in here?" Like they're going to see all sorts of cool stuff. One of the things I saw that like gave me chills, and it was like, "Oh, weird. Okay, it's weird they have that." Is they apparently have James T. Kirk's remains there.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, they have his body remains whatever in some sort of stasis like there. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I heard people debating on this. Is it just his body that's there? He is dead, or did they freeze him in some kind of way that he could come back to life?
I don't know.
Or put him in one of these synthetic bodies or...
Right.
I don't know, but I think it's been confirmed that he's gone.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know. I think that was just a little tease for us.
For what's coming.
For what's coming and stuff. I don't think we're going to get Kirk in any way, although that would be super neat if they did. But no, I think he died. And it's interesting because they obviously went and dug him out from under those rocks that Picard buried him under in Generations.
Yeah.
So after his oh my,
yeah.
when he passes away, oh my. But I don't think it's good to leave Kirk with that noble death like that.
I agree.
I don't want to see them bring it back, but it was still super cool when you saw that and they played the theme. Awesome. So anyway, as they're looking through and seeing all this stuff and going, oh wow, weird. Then all of a sudden they see a raven. Or crow, rather. It's a crow. Sorry, not a raven.
Holographic crow? What is that?
And then it lets out that F-sharp note.
And Picard's like, this seems so familiar. Why do I...
Yeah, Riker's like, he's like, I know this. This seems familiar. And the reason it seems familiar is because it was heralding the coming of Moriarty. Now, last time we saw Moriarty was... Oh, gosh. What was the name of that episode? The Ship in the Bottle episode. And that was when he became like sentient. Yeah, and everything. And they ended up having to trap him inside that like hologram, essentially his own like ship in a bottle kind of thing. And as far as we know, Riker indicates that he's like, wait a minute, this isn't that Moriarty. This is like a different manifestation of Moriarty that's coming from somewhere else. And he realizes that it has something to do with the security program and everything. So, and he even says he does the whole "I think, therefore I am" line, which I think is his last line that he has, or it's one of his last lines in the Ship in the Bottle episode and everything. So they realize Riker, he's been through this whole season, he's been good with figuring things out. Sometimes too quickly, just like in the last episode with Rolarin's earring, when he was just like, "Oh, I know what that is," and immediately knows that it's got all this information on it. Okay,
lovers know stuff.
But what's kind of cool about it is that he ends up putting together. He's hearing this tune and everything, and he's asking Moriarty, "Is that the clue? Like, am I supposed to guess that?" Moriarty's like saying, "Yeah, that's it. Put it together." And he realizes that he's like, "Wait a minute, this Moriarty's not the other one. This is meant. Moriarty himself and everything is meant to be a clue for us to get past like and everything, and he starts to recognize the tune. And then we get something super cool, which is they visually flash back to the first episode of Next Gen.
Yeah.
Which I was like, whoa, it was jarring. Like, it was jarring seeing young beardless Riker
Right.
and everything. And it's because it's when he first met Data.
Data.
It's when he saw Data for the first time, and Data was trying to figure out this song.
Yeah, a tune. He was trying to whistle it.
He was trying
but
to.
he can't
he's
whistle.
not a
You just
whistler.
put your lips together and blow.
Yeah, and everything, and then Riker is able to.
I can't whistle.
Yeah, he's able to whistle the rest of the tune, which is "Pop Goes the Weasel," which Data looks at him and says, "Marvelous" or something.
Yeah, and that's what Moriarty says.
And that's what Moriarty
Marvelous.
says, and
then it
that's
disappears.
right. And the reason being is because what do we find? We find that they have found Data.
Ish.
Kind
Partially.
of a Data.
Maybe.
Yeah, well,
Definitely it is, but partly.
it's a song creation, and Data's in there, but it ain't Data. So anyway, but again, we're kind of they sort of jumping around and everything here. We get back to the Titan, and on the Titan, when Picard made his rapid getaway of sorts, when he made his big getaway from sorry, I'm trying to get this working. When he makes his big getaway from the Changeling Starfleet and everything, he tells Sydney that he wants to go somewhere else, and Sydney's
He's like, I don't think we should do that.
she's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea, and he's just like blowing her off. And the reason she didn't want to go is because he was taking them to the Fleet Museum, which is awesome. Another awesome thing. I loved seeing the Fleet Museum. I loved seeing all those ships. Enterprise 1701A is there.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Oh wow! And I'm like, oh god, I hope that factors in. I hope that factors in somehow. Like, please factor that in somehow. But more than just seeing it there. But anyway, so they go back to the Fleet Museum. They go to the Fleet Museum there to sort of hide out, but also because Picard wants to seek out help from the curator and Commodore there. That is none other than Geordi LaForge.
Finally.
Finally, yes, 6 episodes in, we finally get to see Geordi. And he's not happy. He is not happy to see
Not even
them.
a little. He's like, power down now.
And Picard,
Like-
he's like, dude.
We need to talk.
He's like, oh my gosh, like, I need your help. Like, relax. Well, it turns out that the reason why, so Geordi has been in his like semi-retired or whatever years, he's the guy that's in charge of this museum and everything. He and his daughter, what's her name?
Alondra, yeah, something like that.
And he and Alondra are together taking care of this this museum, which I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Alondra is portrayed by actress Micah Burton. That's his actual real life daughter, which is pretty neat. I thought that was super cool. But anyway, Geordi, he explains that he's on edge because the whole Frontier Day thing is coming up in like 3 days from then.
Yeah, and they're crazy. They want the whole fleet. That's just insane. We shouldn't do it.
Right. He knows that it's not a good idea and everything. But so he's just stressed out about that, and now here's Picard making things even more dangerous and messed up. Plus, he's not happy about the fact that Picard has gotten his other daughter, Sydney, wrapped up in all of this craziness. The thing is, obviously, and we'll find out more about it, Sydney wants to be there. Like, she's not this isn't being done to her under duress. Like,
Right.
she
That's what she chose.
Yeah, she chose to do this and everything. But we get a little bit more insights as to what was going on there and everything. Picard is trying to explain his situation, is trying to explain that he needs Geordi's help. He's got these plans. Maybe Geordi can help him fix this and do that. Well, they shut that down pretty quickly because Alondra reveals that all the Starfleet ships now are totally integrated with one another, means they can speak to each other. So as soon as they dock, it's going to alert all the changelings on
Get
all the
close
other
enough.
ships. Yeah,
Tell
exactly.
you where you are.
They're gonna know and everything. So Geordi and Picard go to talk about things, and Alondra goes up to Zed and is like, "I'm so sorry that our father is the way he is."
He's so difficult, and he won't listen. And
Yeah.
I'm not happy with Geordi right now.
Really? Is this what you wanted to get into? That you were saying you don't like what they did with the character?
Yeah.
Okay, well, go into it.
Because I don't remember Geordi as being that difficult. And I guess they kind of touched on it. It's like, I would have followed you anywhere. I was in my younger days, but now I got my daughters to worry about, and you drug Sydney into it. It's like, why is everybody blaming Picard for everything? He got drug into this too.
Yeah.
That wasn't his fucking fault.
Yeah.
He's just trying to fix what happened now. He did. Yeah. I don't know. I did not like that. He was like, sorry, I can't help. I don't want to be court-martialed, blah, blah, blah. I was like, how many times do you guys break the fucking rules in TNG? Give me a break.
Yeah.
Where's this Geordi?
I agree with you. I feel like I think they try to explain it away a little bit more, that it really has to do more with him just being afraid. And afraid for his daughters.
They're all afraid apparently now.
Yeah.
Riker was afraid.
Yeah.
Crusher's afraid. I mean, I don't know. Now we have another one? Come on.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was kind of my first thought too, is I was like, okay, here we go. I'm getting a little tired with the whole idea that every one of his ex-crew members is just like so angry to see him again and be dragged into another, life or death mission thing. I'm like, I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that. I don't feel like that's actually in Geordi's character.
Right.
At all.
Now, at the end of the episode, he redeemed himself. I was like, there's Geordi. There's my fucking Geordi.
And I guess that was the point of why they did that, so that he could have that moment so that he could turn around and
he
be like,
walked in and been a badass like Worf, but whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you. It didn't bother me, I think, as much as it bothered you, but I noted it. I was like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Every time he runs, he runs into Beverly, and she's just like, I'm so mad at you, and then he runs into, everybody's just so mad at Jean-Luc, and it's like, oh, come on. It's I noted that. Remember, I brought that up like a few episodes ago when we were talking. I was like, okay, they're overdoing it with that. And so they did it again with this, and I was like, yeah.
I mean, I knew he was going to be miffed with Picard, but I just wasn't happy with the way that went.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one. So I really can't argue that.
I feel better.
No, yeah, good. You got that off your chest.
Yes.
Okay. No, I agree with you. I think that was a very astute observation, man. Anyway, so Jack is hanging out on the bridge in the meantime while Geordi and Picard are talking about stuff and talking about fatherhood and all that kind of stuff and everything. Jack's talking on the bridge, and there's like a little bit of a light sentimental-ish moment where Jack is pointing out he's excited to see all the ships, just as I was excited to see all the ships.
Yeah, he was doing the same thing. He's like, oh, that's that.
At the Starfleet Museum there, docked, and he's pointed it out, and he even points out Megan's her favorite ship of all time, which is Voyager.
I don't mind the ship.
For those that don't know, for people that aren't familiar, if you haven't heard like old episodes where we've talked about Trek stuff and everything, Megan is not a Voyager fan.
I'm not a Janeway fan.
Yeah, I suppose that's more to the point.
Supposedly I need to give her more of a chance, but I just can't get past her crying, so.
It's literally only in the first season. It's only in the first season.
I can't get past it?
Well, then jump to season 2 and watch from there on. I'm telling you, there's so many great characters in Voyager that you're missing out on.
I know.
So
you just suck it up and just do it.
Yes, I really think you should. But anyway, there's a really cool moment where Seven is kind of getting to talk about Voyager and what Voyager meant to her and everything. And Jack and Seven have a cool little like relating to each other moment, a little bonding moment. And I thought that
was nice.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But more importantly, as they're looking at all of these, the ship that you said you got excited to see was the Klingon Bird of Prey.
Yeah, that fucking bouncy dude.
Yeah. explain.
Go get some whales. I was so excited.
What's that from?
That is from the whale one.
The whale one, Star Trek 4. Yeah.
They go into San Francisco and get themselves some whales to save the species. So my favorite movie, Star Trek movie.
So,
but yeah, 7 was like, they took forever to get that out of the bottom of the San Francisco Bay because they couldn't find it. It just disappeared. It was cloaked. It cloaked itself. So
right, and so that starts to, you see Jack's wheels start turning. He was like, cloaking. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
that could be
handy.
Very handy and everything. So anyway, so then after that, Geordi and Picard have a long talk about fatherhood and the tough points of realizing that you can't just hand down the good. They're going to get the bad as well and everything. But they end up coming to something of an agreement where Picard says, okay, well, Geordi can't help us. He's got to leave. And Sydney, he's taking you with him. And we're just going to come up with a thing saying you were taken, against your will. So it gets you out of trouble and everything. And
Sydney's like, the fuck you are.
Right. Sydney is like, I ain't having that. She goes to storm in and, have a word with Papa. And that's a really cool, like I said, for as much as I agree with you about like Geordi's being kind of weird and everything, I think they're trying to show that fatherhood and retirement and age and years and stuff have kind of just changed his perspective on it. And he's not as carefree and everything as he once was. And he's really concerned about his family. Mm-hmm. And he's also overprotective and probably a little over harsh and judgmental on Sydney and everything, as fathers get, as they do get sometimes. And she's quick to note it to him too.
Yeah. She does not back down. I like Sydney a lot.
Yeah, I really, really like Sydney. And again, for all the people that are talking about that they hope there's a Star Trek Titan series coming out after this and everything.
God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I would love to see her and Shaw and Seven, if Seven was to stick around, maybe even like Rafi or something like that, like stick around, like build like a new, conglomerate crew there. That would be super duper cool. But Sydney, she doesn't back down, and when he starts kind of yelling at her and saying like, look, you got to care about family, not, your crew aren't your family. And she says,
yes, they are. You taught me that.
Exactly. My crew is my family and I'm standing by my crew. That's what you're supposed to do. And it sort of like snaps him back into it, because it's kind of like, oh yeah, like I know that, like he knows that he definitely knows that deep down, but he's just been so far removed from it. And he's so afraid for his family and everything that
they gotta grow up sometime, LaForge. You can't protect them forever.
Yeah,
let them make their own decisions.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, especially when he knows only too well how incredibly dangerous. He probably, like I said, Alondra followed in his footsteps to do the whole like engineering thing and all that kind of stuff. And Sydney's more of a daredevil, she was like, I want to fly, like I'm a pilot, like she wants to be out there flying, which, is potentially a lot more dangerous because you're getting out into strange new worlds and, and all the danger she's in right now. Right. So I get it. I think,
or I don't know, you can be stationary and the danger can come to you. And then what are you going to do about it? Not a goddamn thing, huh?
Oh boy. Sorry, Geordi. Like Meg's got it
not
out.
Having it.
Man. Yeah, she's really not having it. So, but anyway, she ends up deciding one thing that I think is particularly awesome in this episode. It's both good and bad. And again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like they underused Shaw in this episode. Don't make that face. Come on, he's proving to be
shocked.
I didn't say I like him. I still think he's a jerk.
You like the character though.
But I think the character is important, and I like the way he fits into things, and I really hope he does get more time to shine and everything. like to really show, because I feel like he's got a badass captain underneath all that PTSD and, from the Borg and his angst and, anger he has towards the next gen people and stuff. I think underneath that, there's potential for him to be a really cunning, awesome captain. So I do hope we get to see more of that at some point.
Yeah,
but
I agree completely.
But I gotta say, the scene of him meeting Geordi for the first time when Geordi's supposed to be leaving and everything, and he's seeing them off, and he's and he's literally stammering.
Yeah.
And he's just like, we've not seen this side of Shaw. And it's great. I love the looks that Picard and Seven are given. Like, can you believe this guy?
Like really? Like, really fangirling right now.
He's so fangirling over Geordi, and I love the way Geordi replies. He's like being like real critical of the ship, because he's like, the walls are paper thin and blah blah blah, and he's like, yeah, it's been a tough week, and
it's been a weird week.
Yeah, he's like, but I'll tell you what, if we weren't going through all this now, I'd be happy to geek out on you about all of this other stuff going on with how cool this is and that and everything about your ship, and you could see like. I think Shaw just peed himself a little bit.
Like, oh, okay, yeah,
he was just
that's
like,
awesome.
He was like, oh, that's awesome. That was great.
Yeah.
That was great. And again, I love their being so tasteful in this season with the way they're integrating these little lighter moments like that. Like, they're not getting overly goofy. They're not getting, you know what I mean? Like, they are balancing it out very nicely, because everything is just very intense. They got to cram a lot of action and suspense and details and drama into 10 episodes, which does not feel like nearly enough.
No.
They have to cram a lot of that in. So then to cram in like some humor and things like that it can be clumsy, if you don't do it right. They've been doing it right. This whole scene,
doing everything right almost.
Yeah, this whole scene was great. Meanwhile, though, as that's going on, as they're having this talk, all of a sudden the ship starts getting all like weird and wobbly and like kind of half disappearing.
See-through, yeah.
And Geordi instantly figures it out, and he's like, you scammed me. You came here to steal the bird of prey cloaking stuff and everything. He's like, I can't believe you did that, man.
You betrayed me. He's like, no, I didn't. I swear, I have no idea. Like, and both dawned on him. It was so
the
funny.
Kids. We left the kids.
Jack, Sydney.
Yep.
Alondra was part of it too.
Yeah, we left the kids alone. So yeah, it turns out that
kids got too quiet. You should have known.
Yeah, exactly. It turns out that the two LaForge girls and Jack got together and basically stole the cloaking technology, and were trying to install it on the Titan as a means of keeping them cloaked so that they could go back and rescue their away team from Daystrom and everything.
It didn't go so well.
It didn't go so well. I mean, they were having a hard time making it work properly, and the more they were messing with it, the more they were compromising their safety and everything. So in comes
sent out like a alarm to Starfleet, too.
Right?
Like, now they're going to come barreling down on us. Good job,
right?
Idiots.
Right? Exactly. And so the ship is just like fluxing in and out of visibility and everything. And Geordi is like, okay, all right, fine, we can't have this. So Geordi goes barging in there and is like, all right, clearly the only person here that's going to be able to fix this is me. So get out of the way. And
make yourself useful.
And he says, it tells Jack, like, make yourself useful. And he also throws in there, stay away from my daughter.
That was cute.
I thought that was pretty funny. Because Jack has been not so subtly flirting with Sydney throughout this episode and everything. So anyway, they go to work on that and everything. Meanwhile, back at Daystrom, Worf and Raffi and Riker have come across, as we said, they found data, and they find a projection of Sung. And Sung is talking of Alton Sung, and he's explaining what it is they found, because of course their thing is, they're like, how the heck did we
How's Data here?
How
Why does he
we-
look like that? I
Right,
don't understand.
Data's already died twice, you know, so why does he look like he does? And what we come to find out is that the final project of Sung before he died that he wasn't able to complete actually was to finally make Pinocchio a real boy, so to speak, so that to finally make Data into more of an actual humanistic being and everything. And so using similar type of technology, like how Picard is still alive in this different kind of body, this, what is it, like positronic, whatever it is, this kind of sentient sort of flesh body kind of thing. He created a final version of Data, but in the head, what he was trying to do was integrate all of the various personalities. So you had Data, you have Lore, you have B4
And Lol.
and Lol, right? Exactly. But he died before he could finish it, so the 4 personalities were never fully integrated.
Right.
So they're all in there in the head of this. It's not an android. I can't call him an android. He's in this being. But they're not blended together. This proves to be very important because they realize that, like, oh, Data is like the security program here, essentially. So it means Data somewhere in his
He's
head.
what they came for. Is
He knows what the changelings.
the manifest? Is that what they kept calling him?
Yeah, he's the manifest. He knows what was taken and who took it and all this kind of stuff. So they end up deciding, like, we got
to take him.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take him with us. Well, no sooner do they plan to do that, and they get caught up with by
They're like, our time's up. We got to go.
by the bad guys and everything.
I loved when Riker was like, Picard, are you there? And Worf's like, clearly he's not.
Yeah, clearly he's not there. Everything. So, at that exact moment, the Titan shows up. They come out of being cloaked, and now everybody knows they're there and everything. So they've only got moments to beam them out, and they end up beaming up Data and Worf and Raffi. Riker gets left behind because he basically is like the cavalry that's like, I'm going to hold him off.
They stung him with a transporter blocker.
That's right. Yeah, they stung him so they couldn't transport him anyway. But he had already kind of
Hold him back.
Like, you guys go. I'm gonna hold him back, kind of thing. And they end up capturing Riker, which is no good.
No, don't beat up his handsome face.
Yeah, exactly. That is no good. But they were at least able to get Data, which is right now, unfortunately, no offense, Will, but is the more important thing, because
that was the job.
Without that information, then then this was all a waste of time.
Right.
So I'm trying to remember, when is it that Jack, it's right around this same time concurrently. Jack decides to have a quick talk with Picard and kind of apologizes for the way he reacted in 10 Forward when he had first found out the news about this supposedly
syndrome.
Yeah, deadly syndrome that he inherited and everything. And he basically kind of echoes what Picard and Geordi were saying earlier about, like, you're not going to get everything good from, sometimes you're going to get bad things that get handed down, but I'd like to believe that I also did get good things from you, because I've found that I've got traits that before I never knew where those traits came from, and now I realize they came from you. I got it from you, Dad. Where'd you get this from? I got it from you, Dad. You remember those commercials? You don't remember this? Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so that was kind of a cool scene. It was a little brief distraction from all the action and everything going on, but it does sort of like tie that up a little bit, which I think was good. And at the same time, again, because there's always the tied-in themes, Geordi and Sydney, while they're working on stuff, kind of mend their fences as well, because Geordi, like, explains, like, Sydney's being more upfront with him too, and trying to make him realize that, like, you know, even though I didn't follow in your footsteps of being an engineer, like, I idolized you, Dad, and I worshipped every moment I could get being with you and learning from you, and that's not lost on Geordi. And Geordi also turns around and says, like, I hope you know, like, that I'm super proud of you, and I think you're amazing. I'm just afraid, you know. At some point I became afraid of losing her, or something happening to her, and just, yeah, like, things happen. So
yeah, I enjoyed where she came in and she's like, the reason I crashed all those things was so I could be with you to learn how to repair them.
Right.
Because he went to go, he's like, I need this. She's like, no, you don't. You need this.
Yeah,
and you kind of looked at like, excuse me?
How would you know that I need that tool? And she's like, because I learned it from you, Dad. Yeah. So
I thought that was cute.
Yeah. And
little moment.
Right. And Geordi admits that it's like, look, Geordi says to her, like, look, I'm upset at myself right now because the old me would never have reacted the way I did. Yeah. The old me would have immediately jumped in.
Exactly.
Well, but
I know.
At least he called it out. You know what I mean?
He redeems himself at the end.
Right. At least he ended up calling it out and everything. So they didn't just leave it hanging like that. And, you know. So anyway, all right. So we're winding down here towards the end. So now they're aboard the Titan. They've gotten away, and they had to leave poor Will behind. Worf does say, he's like, look, whatever it takes.
He's a very taken. I have certain set of skills. I will find him.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He says, like, you can trust me. It's going to be my mission. Like, I am going to get him back. So, so we know now.
Worf's on his way.
Worf's on his way, and that's going to be badass. I love the idea of Worf going after Vadic. That's going to be awesome.
Yes, I can't wait.
Meanwhile,
fuck her up.
Yeah, I know, because I can't stand Vadic. She's so annoying, but. Rightfully so. Like, she's Amanda Plummer's doing an amazing job playing that character.
Yep.
Like,
I love to hate her.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I think she's a bit of an onion herself, in that there's going to be layers to peel back about her. But anyway, so now they're on the ship on Titan, and they've got the data, whatever he is, synthetic data being. And they're trying to figure out what to do about him. They're kind of nervous about, like, what's going to happen when we, activate him. Like, what are we going to get from this guy and everything? So they activate him, and right away, like, he recognizes Geordi, which was awesome. He recognizes his captain, which is awesome. The whole thing's like, gives you chills, gives you goosebumps, because you're like, oh my God, this is super cool. Like, they're all back together again. We also get to see that he's not quite right, because then he cycles through a couple of different. He's at one point he says, "I'm lore," and then he says, "I'm before," and so we get to see, like, oh yeah, okay.
Or it's like, is there a reset button? He's not. This isn't right. Something's not right.
Right, but Picard is just like, he's cutting to the quick, and he's like, Data, we need to know what was it they took from Daystrom and everything. What is this weapon? And he just keeps repeating, Jean-Luc Picard. Jean-Luc Picard. They think that he's like,
yes, that's me.
Yeah, that's
Come
me.
on.
Yeah, we're getting into.
I need to know what they took.
We get into a who's on first situation here, third base. But and then they finally realize, like, wait a minute, something's going on, and all of a sudden, Data projects onto the wall what it is that he's
trying to convey.
What it is he's trying to convey to them, and they are quite shocked to see that. When he was saying Jean-Luc Picard, he wasn't just referencing the man standing in front of him. He was trying to explain to them, no, the weapon they stole was Jean-Luc Picard. Because not only do they have apparently James T. Kirk's body there at Daystrom, they have the remains of the original pre-synthetic body, Jean-Luc Picard.
So weird.
It is weird.
I mean, we put mummies on display all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's still weird.
It is. And it makes you wonder why they had it in the first place, and what was the purpose of keeping it.
Right.
Is it because he's got...
Sentimental? Or
No, I don't think it's sentimental.
I don't know.
I'm guessing it's probably because of his body, what he'd been through, the fact that he was Locutus, different things like that, because he's such a different body. But you know what? They have other former Borgs around and stuff too. So why would they particularly?
Are we going to find Hugh somewhere too? I mean,
yeah, poor Hugh. Yeah, exactly.
And Kirk didn't have anything special like that about him.
That we know.
They have him.
That we know.
I don't know, but there's got to be a reason. And the reason why Vadic wanted him so bad.
And it just thickens the plot. Yeah. So the whole thing is so not only do they want Picard's son, I put in quotations there, son, if he actually is. I hope so too, but I don't know. We'll see. But not only do they want Picard's son, but they want Picard himself. They want the original Picard.
Yeah, they need his body. Why do they need his body?
Exactly. What is it that they're trying to get out of this? So we get left with a cliffhanger of that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, kind of play into your Beverly Crusher's not Beverly Crusher thing. And she's the one that drew him away because he was just going to be like, I got to go make this speech at the big thing.
Right.
And she's like, no, trust nobody, come out, help me or whatever.
Right.
To God fucking nowhere.
Right.
And if it's not her, then she could lure him away so they can come steal the body and then put a changeling in his body. And
I don't know.
Cause chaos. I've also heard that it could be Borg related.
Yeah. That's a good point.
They want to bring back Locutus and watch them destroy themselves.
Okay, well, here's the thing. So Picard is supposed to make an appearance at Frontier Day.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they were able to lure out Picard, lure him away from Frontier Day and all that stuff, get him to the edge of the galaxy, like get him killed, get him kept, whatever they're going to do.
Just get rid of him.
Lure him away, get him away so that they can then get this old Picard body, use that body with whatever changeling technology and this and that they have now to have that changeling Picard using the old body show up at Frontier Day to maybe cause whatever kind of revolutionary chaos they're planning on doing. This takeover of you would assume destruction and takeover of Starfleet they seem to be gearing up for. Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that actually. There's a lot to think about here.
I don't know what to think.
I don't either.
I don't know who to trust.
No. Trust no one, of course, apparently.
Yeah, not even Beverly. That's what that always says. Like, I told you not to trust anybody.
Yep.
Including me.
Right.
That's how it always works out.
So the ending of the episode, we see that Riker is getting his ass handed to him. He's getting beat pretty severely by these Starfleet officer changelings and stuff. And then all of a sudden, in a weird twist, we see that the one that's doing the beating turns around and kills the other changeling officers, and the main one turns out to be a maniacally smiling and laughing Vadic.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering, were they changelings or were they just crew members? And that's why she could kill them.
No.
That makes more sense to me because why kill them? That makes no sense.
Well, she's been killing left and right.
She's been killing.
I think she's just
off her
psychotic.
rockers, yeah.
I think she's just crazy.
Unless, like you said, there's onions.
Right. Well, yeah, I definitely think there's more to it.
That's the reason she's getting rid of him for what seems like no reason. They've
been beating on him, trying to get him to reveal the location and everything of Jack and Jean-Luc, and if he's like, dude, I've been doing this for so many years. Yeah. Like, you really think you're going to beat it out of me? Like, you're out of your mind. So then,
for you, I'm not going to tell you anything. She's like, nope, not for me.
Right. And this goes back to the very beginning of the episode when Vadic said, go out and find anybody that he loves and cares about and would turn to, and we're going to use it against him. And what did they do? They found Deanna Troi.
Bastards.
Yeah, they got poor Deanna involved, and she's just like, oh, Will. As usual, poor Will, man. Yeah. He can't do anything.
Can't catch a break, man.
He just cannot catch a break. So now,
again, if that's really Deanna. That could be a fucking changeling too, just luring him in, just get the information.
It could be. It very well could be. Again, because we don't know how the whole thing works with the changelings anymore, because the logic seems real skewed. And
Yeah.
weird. I don't know. I am right now going forward in my mind that is Deanna, and I think that we'll see, man. I hope they don't kill Deanna Troi, man, because that'd be rough.
Yeah, not Deanna, please.
Yeah, we'll see, but I don't know. And that's where everything ends. Ends on that cliffhanger of Will and Deanna are captured by the Shrike. And like I said, I mentioned earlier about the whole thing about in the teaser for the next episode, we see Vadic talking to that goobly gob emperor projection type, like Darth Vader talking to the emperor type projection face, and you get the impression. But there's things that emperor thing, whatever, that overlord is telling her, that the way that thing keeps referring to things, keeps saying like your kind and blah 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 blah, leading you to think that, wait a minute, so then whatever Vadic is, it's not the same as whoever this is that she's talking to, leading to believe that there are more than one type of race or creed or whatever working on this, that there's other factors at play here. It's a very brief scene, so I can't really delve into it, but it it's an interesting scene nonetheless. But man, anyway, yeah, to just wrap it up again, I loved this episode. I thought this episode had everything that I could want or hope for. It was funny, it was exciting, it was nostalgic, it was almost tear-jerking at times. It was, man,
it had a little of everything. It was a good episode. It was really good.
Really good, and it's just furthering the whole thing that it's like, we keep saying, like, more and more with each episode, I keep going, this is Star Trek. This is Star Trek. Again, as much as I loved aspects of season 1 and 2, I wasn't a hater. We weren't haters on season 1 and 2 like so many of you out there were. We really enjoyed it. I missed some of those characters and stuff. I wish Issa Briones and Evan Evangoria and them were still around because we loved them. But man, if they're gonna, they've just got it right. They just got it right with this season 3. The people that are helming it, the people they've brought in, getting new the new characters like Shaw and Sydney and all that. They're doing it right, and I'm so much more invested and excited for what's going to happen in the next episode than I was with seasons 1 and 2. You know,
I agree completely.
Those, I mean, I was curious. I was like, ooh, interesting. But it wasn't like now where I'm like, I cannot wait to see the next episode. Like, I'm on the edge.
What could they possibly do next?
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat. And it's been a long time since Star Trek has had me on the edge of my seat, man. So, like I said, in this show, it does a brilliant job of blending the series, like the whole series, next gen type feel and Voyager feel, with the cinematic, the depth and the grittiness.
It's like
of the
literally
movies.
pulling everything together into one show, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, all the ingredients to make one beautiful Star Trek cookie. You know,
and I want to eat it up.
And I just can't wait to take the next bite. Exactly. Yep. All right. On that note, we will be back next week, barring anything unforeseen, because who knows. But we will be back next week with our review of episode 7. I cannot wait. Can't wait to see what happens with episode 7.
Yeah, I have heard that it may not be as exciting. The next 2 may not be as good as these last ones have been, but who the hell knows? They could be like excellent too. Yeah, we will judge for ourselves, as you should too.
As long as it's furthering the story and it's getting us to where we need to go and everything, I'm fine with that. It doesn't have to be, every episode doesn't have to be quite as crammed, you know, to the gills like this one was, with just so much, you know. That almost can be a little too much if every episode is like that. So I'm fine with that.
Next one should slow it down, it sounds like. We'll see.
I mean, if you're a true Trek fan, can deal with slow. Slow is not, because Trek can get very slow at times.
And that's okay.
And that is okay. On that note, all right, we are out of here. Can you do it? Can you give them the,
Here's one.
old...
There's 2. I got them.
All right.
Oh, wait. I'm losing this one.
Oh, you're losing it.
I'm losing them.
We're losing her, Jim. All right. Anyway, we'll see y'all soon, all right?
See you next week. Bye.